What's up, team? We're back for another episode. Thank you. I appreciate you listening and being here, and hopefully being able to still add value with whatever you're taking on in life. So, today's episode is me just updating you on a little personal project that I'm going on. Some of you may already have heard it, some of you may not, but I dive a bit deeper into some of the reasons, some of the other underlying foundations, what we represent, as well as a bit of identity human stuff and how this ties in, and just genuinely what excites me. And I'm hoping that it fills you with a bit of energy. It reinforces a few themes that you needed reinforcing, as opposed to blocking your beliefs in yourself and just trying to slowly chisel away at the things that are getting in your way. So today is a massive update, not a massive, it's an update about me and my journey and what I'm doing. And hopefully it inspires you at the same time. And yeah, let me know what you think. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Identity Human Podcast with your host, Don. Yes, I know Ray isn't here again. She's very busy at the moment, and we slightly shifted around our recording times. And we're also doing this like 30-day challenge thing where you have to be in bed by like 9:30, wake up at 6, and all that kind of stuff, which means that the extra free time we would have had to, say, record and all that kind of stuff and fit around Ray's work, especially, because she's quite like regimented, not regimented, but it's well fitted in, means that's been squeezed. So it has been me for a couple of episodes, like 3 or 4. We nearly did one last night, but again, like kids going to bed at like 7:30, 8ish means that there was only an hour and a half, and she had stuff that she had to record because she is also doing something called the Zero Hero, which is if you're a business owner and you want to learn how to do your own accounting and you're using Xero as software, she's got you covered, right? So that's what she's trying to build out at the moment. And it also gives me an opportunity to go back to where we started at the very beginning, which was just me talking to the camera. And I actually quite enjoy it because I can go deep and I can pretend that you're enjoying this in my head as I'm talking. And actually some of you will. And that makes me feel good. So I'm going to do it. So what am I talking about today? What's the topic? Ooh. So actually the topic is going to be an update on Project Thor. Now, when I originally thought this up, it was probably a year or two ago, and I was talking to my best mate, Pete, and I'd originally said, give me a six-pack like Chris Hemsworth, because I liked his body shape, right? And obviously in Thor, amazing character. I actually like, who's your favorite character, by the way? I like Captain America, but I suppose that's on character. Thor, I loved, but then he got ruined when they made him Fat Thor. I was so disappointed. And I don't know if any of you are with me, but when he was Fat Thor, I was like, okay, I like it. I like what they've done here. Like gone from like God to what he was now. And I thought that in the final battle, when he finally grabbed his hammer, that he would lightning bolt, when he gets his kit on and they'd be back in shape, but he wasn't. And I was like, nah, come on, you've ruined, like, superheroes are meant to be superheroes for a reason. Like, I don't want fat alcoholic Thor. I want Thor, because then it ruins the meta Thor, right? So that's actually what we're going with today. Is I thought of this just as I was planning it out. Is this whole Project Thor is actually a meta Thor for you. So please don't take it literally. So when I talked about it started off as a six-pack, it's because I've never really had one, and whatever working mechanisms go in my mind, I got told by a teacher, like a biology teacher, she's like, you either have the genetics for it or you don't. And that was a limiting belief. And now I'm like, okay, well, let's actually really test out and push as much as we can, because why not? So we'll see. Some of the other themes, though, it is my 2025 Misogi. I've spoken about a Misogi before, but that is an ancient Japanese purification through hardship. So like you go through something hard to purify who you are as a warrior. And I really like that. So that was kind of my Misogi for this year, because I did London Marathon and 3 Peaks last year and London Marathon the year before that. And someone had commented, oh, this is your Misogi. And I was like, oh, what's my 2025 Misogi? Considering 4 kids, businesses are trying to get going. And you often can fall to the excuse that you don't have enough time to do something like an Ironman, because that's the logical next step, right? You've done 3 Peaks, the marathon, let's do Ironman, because that's, yeah. I was like, nah, do you know what? First of all, I think if you cycle on the road for health reasons, come on. Like, I know it's slightly controversial here, but I want to make sure that I don't have to be someone training out on the road on a bike, because, and the amount of training that goes into Ironmans is a lot. So I thought, what else could it be? It could be something that I can do every single day that's consistent. It's like that 1% club type thing, but it's hard. And the sustainability of something is far more of a challenge than just your boom and bust cycles of, you do something for 3 months, like your London marathons. You plan, it's got a definite end goal, you've got a time base, it's smart, and it suits all the things that people love. And I was like, well, I've done those, and I can kind of see, like, once you start to get training, you just keep going, and then it becomes easy only because you've trained. Hello, like high performance. And I thought, actually, Project Thor for me is like, it's you've got your we had like a 4-week foundation, 6-week bulk, 6-week shred, 6-week bulk, 6-week shred, and by the end of that should be near and near about. So I know a rough timeline, but there's so many variables. Like, there's so many things. It's not a, there is a training plan. There is, I've got to go to gym 4 to 5 times a week, every week, and that, like, it changes, and I'll get into that. But that for me was way more of a challenge, because I had to be consistent in small ways rather than consistent for 3 months. It's like, this is a whole year challenge. It's a massive one. So as much as the 6-pack represents discipline and consistency, that's a metaphor. So remember, I know I'm trying to be funny, like a metaphor. It's far bigger than that, because I actually do want to show, like, you've got to build, like, I know it's like build a godlike body, right? And have a disciplined mind and a life that can hold it all. So I don't want other things to drop off. So I want to be able to show that when you work on yourself, the rest is as a result of who you become. And so remember, I got 4 kids. It's not condescending. I got some feedback from a mate, from Pete, actually, because I showed him a video, and he's like, I can potentially be quite condescending. Like, I got 4 kids and I can do that. And it's like, it's so interesting that is one way to receive it, because actually I'm doing, like, I've got 4 kids and we're doing this. Like, come on, like, we can do this. Do you know what I mean? And it's not about, come on, this isn't good enough. It's just because I think there's a big narrative that can be done when you're feeling things are on top of you, you're a bit overwhelmed, you're a bit stressed, and you allow all of the excuses to come, and you start to talk to someone and you go, oh, the kids are a bit much, or work's a bit much, and they go, yeah, it is. And you suddenly create this loop of reinforcement that they're struggling, therefore I'm struggling, therefore we should be struggling. And I want to try and create something that shows that, like, you have to work hard on this. Like, I haven't just got to this point magically. Like, there's been a hell of a long, like, especially since retiring from rugby, I was completely inconsistent, and I was trying so hard to do it, and there was all the excuses, and there was some very big dips in emotional well-being and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's part of the journey that I finally felt that this year I was like, right, now we can put it to the test, and something just changed inside. And I want to be able to take other people on that journey too. And I feel that by the end of this year, if I can achieve this Project Thor and maintain it, because I think it's, again, another theory or a principle I think is very important, is it's easy to get to the top because you're driven. It's what you do when you get there that's even more important. So that the journey is always evolving. But for now, it's like, I want to come back to you guys end of September, October, and say, like, look, it's possible. Let's do this. Let's start to open up. Let's start to open up our awareness, start to challenge our desires, start to challenge our excuses, because there's so much in there just waiting to be untapped. We just have to learn how to do it in small incremental ways. And then those small incremental ways become built up to become big things done small. Does that make sense? So I'm tracking it all, and we'll do a Project Thor kind of series where every now and again I will update people, and I'll show you how I'm tracking it, what programs I'm doing, how we're eating, like what other things do you have to consider other than just the gym program. And I think that's what's really important. So yeah, I know that at sometimes, at 35, like a multiple businesses, realistically, we've got lots going on, and every excuse under the sun about age and time and pleasures in life and everything that we use as a way to undermine what we really want, it can be called unrealistic. But this isn't, again, I'm just going to reinforce, not about looking good on the beach, even though that is a good outcome. And also, we live in England, so how often do you go to the beach? But it's more about, like, proving, or how you can show that you can build discipline, you can build consistency, and you can build high standards and have that high standards and that approach, And even if people want to call it overachieving, perfectionism, chasing, whatever it is, significance, it doesn't really matter. It's about, you can have that in the chaos of fatherhood, business, and real life. And also realize that the only things getting in your way is when you allow other people's excuses to get in your way, and you haven't done enough work on like your desires, what means something to you. Okay. So I'll put this out to you. Is it possible to become the kind of person who can carry a business, a family, and still sculpt yourself into a weapon? And that's what I'm trying to prove you. Is like, I 100% think it's possible. I just think you have to really learn to break through some barriers that other people put in the way, because they wouldn't have had the right influences. They would have tried something, didn't work, and then said, no, it's not possible. So I want you to, like, I'm challenging you, if you're listening to this, like, is it possible that you actually can do all of those things? Not something doesn't have to give, but you have to learn how to balance it all. It's like almost like pistons in a car. You've got 4 pistons going, or 8 pistons, and one's hitting the top, the other one's at the bottom. And sometimes life can be in that cycle where you're doing really well at business, not so well at home, doing really well at home, not so well at business. But actually, how do we find that Goldilocks zone, that midpoint where you're like that hype and everything's resonating and just in this great rhythm? And it's just found that midpoint, knowing that there will be times one goes up and the other goes down, and the quicker you can balance them out, the better. And that's more what I think that high performance carrying everything is like. Is it's not going, well, work's great, family's not so great, therefore that's just how it is. Well, family's great, work's not great, that's just how it is. It's just going right the whole time. And it's like this pendulum, you're this pendulum swinging above it all, and these pistons are going, and you've just got to make sure that they're working in equilibrium and a good rhythm. And as soon as one gets out, you know that you're going to bang that down or bring it up. Now, like, hopefully that analogy is good. So, like I've said, it's not about vanity. It's about my Misogi, and the 6-pack is symbolic. It's not a goal as much as it maybe mirrors consistency for me. Like, consistency is a big theme. Consistency and resilience, is this what it's really testing? So to date, I have only missed one session that I should have done, knowing that we started from January, we did 4 weeks of foundation building, and that's like gymming at home, like with the scraps of weights that we've got, then joining a gym and going to it. So you've got 4 weeks of foundation phases, which is going to gym or gymming 4 times a week plus the once a week run. Then we went into 6-week bulk phase, which was like eating 4,000 calories and going to gym and doing strength work, no cardio. Like, I had to change my runs, which I loved. I was in such a good rhythm. I was doing like 5-ish plus Ks every Saturday, and then I wasn't allowed to run. So I did cheat and do some sprints at the gym on one of those curved treadmills, which is cool. Got up to 26.8 or 27 kilometers an hour after not really running much on sprints. There's a challenge for you. Then went into 6 weeks of shred, which was now dropping down to like 3,000 calories and doing functional fitness. So that's a lot more cardio, dipped in with weights, and really focusing on like, what's that body shape going to start to look like? And now I've just started the next phase of bulking, which is back up to 4,000 calories, back up to like strength, no cardio. I mean, Ray and I have got a planned race this weekend, a swim run that we're doing, but that was almost like, okay, nothing else. We're quite strict on it. So I went from 109 kgs to 120 kgs in that bulk phase, dropped down to only like 116 now. And then I have to go back up, and the target is 124 kilograms. And the heaviest I was ever in rugby was 117. So I'd reached my 117. I'm at it now. Bear in mind that rugby is completely different, where you've got to gym as heavy and as much as you can and run around and be fit. Whereas now it's almost like taking it out. So it's not all in one and you're doing it in bits, but it's so interesting. It's such an interesting challenge. And I also feel like this does go into like an identity building space where, like, I'm not just trying to get fit. I'm trying to become someone who doesn't negotiate with excuses. And I think it's a lovely line, because the only thing that stops us from achieving what we want to achieve is the negotiations we have with our chimp. Now, if you've ever come through the Identity Human course, or you've heard me talking about it before, I literally give personality traits that's like, you've got certain chimps in your mind. We all have the same one. And that chimp, and the way we start you off on the course and the challenges and things like that, is introducing you to the chimp. And that chimp, it's that dialogue between you and the chimp the whole time. And what does it really want? And what do you really want? And what is its purpose and its core thing? And you've got to, first of all, understand it. Then you've got to raise your standards to let it understand that it's safe, so that then it can start to lead you. And there's this whole journey and progression that you take within yourself, that you've got to come out of the darkness, then shine a light, then understand and talk. And it's like this very big journey between your chimp and you, and how you will lead it, then it'll lead you, then you'll lead it. And you come away from where it's just leading you, but it needs you to lead it. But because you're not leading it, it just works through fear. It operates through fear and instinct. And it's, honestly, I could talk all day, and I might actually do an episode on it. But that's where that journey is, like how you start to mold that inner voice between you and the chimp, and how you then start to work with it so it becomes a super powerful driver. And essentially, Project Thor, when complete, will become that, like, it's like saying that the body becomes the proof of mindset. So that's what I think is like, what's the tangible outcomes? Because you can't just speak about self-growth and self-identity and becoming resilient and unshakable if your actions don't match your words. It's the same as don't take health advice from an unhealthy person unless you want to learn from their mistakes. That makes sense. So I'm documenting it, and I'm going to start to document a lot more as we go forward. I've just taken these first 12 weeks to make sure I understand it and make sure that I'm getting the right thing. I've taken some before and after pics, and I will start to drip those out. But I think it's not about wanting you to chase the Thor body, but because I think that everyone needs a battle to prove to themselves who they really are beneath the daily chaos. And hopefully you will get inspired if you do follow. And at the same time, what's your project, or what's your Misogi that you're going to go after this year? Where are you hiding behind convenience? Take a moment to reflect that. What excuses are you letting get in the way of you achieving that? And what I mean by achieving is, like, it's not about you not being good enough, because I think a lot of people get offended when you see the best in them and they don't see that in them. And so something I've definitely had to come up, like, if I see the best in you and I go, wow, you can achieve that, all of a sudden I could be coming across as critical or toxically positive. And it's like, wow, like, my excitement for your soul and your potential and who you can be, it's so different to your own inner voice that you can then turn that and be like, that's so unrealistic. And it's like, no, that's what you're missing. If you think someone's toxically positive, you might just be in an extremely negative space where you just don't see it. And also, I do think that there's extreme ranges of that. I've spoken about it before. But what would it look like to you if you were to go all in on one standard, one thing? So, like, for me, like, if I've gone all in on consistency and I'm really trying to prove that, like, what does that look like? And how does that best suit me? How is that best going to suit you? So, yeah, I wanted to maybe, like, just tie this back into Identity Human and realize that it's essentially building the external around what's internal. And often that, that saying, like, as above, so below. And that's why I think it really starts home with. And I often talk about like self-awareness leads to individual impact, leads to collective impact. You have to start with the self-awareness to have the individual impact, to have the collective. So that could be a reflection of your internal world first, then you can match your external world. And that's what I'm trying to essentially do here in lots of different ways. Like self-mastery with visible consequences. So we're looking at like habits, pressure testing, structure, recovery, reflection. So, for example, going to bulk phase now means I have to go to the gym a lot more, because that's where the strength workouts can be done, because there's heavier weights, because I don't have a gym at home that's more than like 90 kgs bench press, like 15 kg plastic dumbbells and some kettlebells. Whereas I go to the gym, it's got everything that I need. So in order for me to go to gym 4 or 5 times in the week, and now that we're bulking, I've just gone, well, I can't necessarily go to gym, takes 15 minutes to get there, gym for an hour, come back, another 15 minutes. So that's an hour and a half out of our day. And remember, we are 4 kids, extremely busy, raised, very driven, as you know, if you've listened to this. So we work as a team, like genuinely we're balancing the whole time. We're making sure that those pistons are working. So me taking out 4 hours, 4 days of being out an hour and a half, it puts a lot of strain on her when you talk about resources and responsibilities in a couple, in a marriage. Like we're a team. So I've just decided I'm going to wake up at 5. So I wake up at 5, go to the gym, and I'm back by 6:30, which usually means that the kids have been awake for maybe 10, 15 minutes, or like the other day, they just slept in, which was amazing. And then Ray can go and get on with her stuff. So when we talk about pressure testing and balancing it out and just making sure that you're being selfish unselfishly. So if I was to talk about it's okay to be a bit more selfish, people go, oh, but selfish is bad. It's like, no, it's not. You just don't be selfish to the extent that it's completely inconveniencing everyone else, especially say in a family setting. So you have to go, I'm going to tap into my desire. My desires to that. I'm going to make that work. So it's a very big difference between saying, I'll try my best versus whatever it takes. So I want to get you, or I want you to get yourself into a point where you are saying, whatever it takes, I'm going to do that. Because that's where you realize earlier I brought in that, like how you hiding behind excuses or convenience, is whatever it takes means that like that's not an excuse. That convenience doesn't exist. Whereas I'll try my best leaves so much room for excuses. It leaves so much room for, oh, well, that doesn't quite suit us now. It doesn't quite suit us then. Okay. What are some of the other things that I've had to think about? Some of the other things I've had to think about are, how does it affect Ray? How does it tie in? How do we balance this all? And also when we're going away, so like if we go away camping, which we will be doing, I'm like, if we go away for 2 weeks, I've got to try and make a plan. So I'm taking kettlebell with, I'm going to go buy some heavier kettlebells and literally just be out on the lawn. And we'll see. We're going to America in August-ish. We're going to have to find some gyms because that's a whatever it takes attitude or mindset. So if there's a hotel, we're going to do that. And we're going to find the gym. We're going to get it done, because that's what I think we have to get to a point where we don't learn to lie to ourselves, where we let things get in the way of us achieving our goals. And if you learn not to lie to yourself, what do you get? You gain integrity. If you gain integrity, you become more trustworthy. If you become more trustworthy, people learn to follow you. If people learn to follow you, you can have an influence. And if you're a good person, that positive influence then starts to have a butterfly effect. And then you start to have an effect on people around you. What I'm really trying to do is show like I'm embodying identity human, and what I hope other people are going to try and achieve if they can follow along with some of the things that we're doing. So if you can follow along and you can realize that, like, with the integrity that I've got, I will lead you where I've been before, not lead you where I haven't been. And taking you on the whole, like from the challenge into the course, into our community, into whatever's next. And some of the planning is really cool. And so, like, the future of where Identity Human's going really excites me. But I know that the work that I've got to do for that is in me. And that's what I'm really working hard at now, because in order for Identity Human to succeed, if it's going to be a reflection of who I am, then I've got to really work on myself. And that's one of the lessons perhaps that I had from Gaming Athlete, is the reason it didn't take off was because the person that was leading it, founder, i.e. Don, the internal world was not able to reflect that. It was all talk, but there wasn't much behind it. And so Identity Human is going to be the opposite. It's like going to be action, 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 and then the results are going to be there. Okay, so that's my update on the whole, like the bigger picture on Project Thor. I will do a series. I will do more podcasts on this, and we will update and give you guys a bit more nitty gritty and just see some of the challenges. But if there's any questions that you want to know about it, if there's any, like, for example, who's doing my programming, it's like Big Red. If you honestly, I mean, I'm going to get on a tangent here, but if you are trying to achieve anything and you're trying to do it on your own, it's going to take you a lot longer. And also, if you try and do it with someone and you got someone not holding your hand, but like not necessarily keeping you accountable, but just being your best support. Like, you can message them when you're tired or when you finish the workout and they go like, yes, they get so excited. Find that person, because that's what Big Red does for me. Like, I message him when I'm done a workout and he's genuinely interested. He goes, how was it? How did it feel? How are your pics from yesterday? And like, the whole time he's fully invested. And I love that. Like, if you're thinking about doing something like this, don't do it on your own. Go and get someone, or even just ask me for Big Red's number, and I'll give it to you. Like, I want this guy out and about because I think it's so important to get good people around you to help you achieve. The same way as like Ray fully bought in. Ray's already looking at recipes, how to help with the bulking, because we're clean bulking too. Like, I don't dirty bulk. I'm even not going to eat bread. Like last time we didn't eat pizza, we went on like a gluten and dairy free 30-day challenge. And this time the challenges come in that it's like extra sleep. Ray's doing a bit of fasting, which I said I'm not necessarily going to do because of the 4,000 calories is going to be hard, but I'll work with her. But she's looking at like baking, creating recipes that are good, clean calories so that we can actually just do this properly, because it's not about being fit sick or doing it for show. It's about genuinely having good integrity behind it. So yeah, that's where we're at. If you are interested and you want any more insight, or you would like to hear me talk about specific things within it, then please do send me a message, comment on the show, and share this with someone, and come and follow on Instagram and LinkedIn, because I'll start to put things out there, because this is the focus for the year, alongside making sure that business, family, and everything else also prospers, to be prosperous. Okay, so remember, Ubuntu, I'll work on me for you if you work on you for me. We are who we are through others. Okay, have a great day.